an audio-only recording of an exercise session for Vision of Adventure. This recording is supported by Disability Rights UK, a yoga session led by Carol Downing.
Okay, so just before we start, just a reminder about this being your practice and to work to whatever your body feels is right for you. So that might mean pulling back from some of the postures, it might mean doing some of the variations, it certainly means being able to breathe easily and comfortably in all of the postures. So if that isn't happening, then you do definitely need to pull back or do something different. So we are going to start with our breath work. So I'd invite you to come down onto the mat. So we want our legs about hip distance apart with our feet on the floor and our knees up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to draw our upper body down to the mat. So we're going to bring the whole of the back and the head down onto the floor. And we've got our feet on the mat there. Whatever distance away from your bottom feels comfortable. You want your legs about hip distance apart. So I'd invite you just to have a little bit of a wriggle of that lower back and see if you can really make contact with the floor with that lower back. And then maybe just take that wriggle up your back towards your shoulders and see that your shoulders are nice and soft. And then I'd invite you to maybe tuck your chin in towards your chest so you get a nice little stretch in the back of the neck. And then maybe you want to take your hands onto your belly. So we're going to do some breath work to begin with. We're going to do our lovely belly breaths again. So I'd invite you to inhale and exhale through the nose. And we're going to inhale and we're going to take that breath all the way down to the belly. And as we take the breath down to the belly, we're going to feel the belly fill with breath and rise up towards the ceiling. We're going to pause there at the top of the inhale. And then we're going to release that breath. We're going to exhale and we're going to feel the belly gently fall down towards the spine. So you want to inhale and take that breath all the way down to the belly. Feel the belly rising up towards the ceiling. Take a pause at the top of that inhale. And then as you exhale, you feel the belly fall down towards the spine, towards the floor. We want to try and make our exhale a little bit longer than our inhale. And we're going to continue with 3 more breaths like this. We're going to try and focus on making this a nice flowing breath so that it seamlessly go from the inhale to the exhale. And that you can just feel the sensation of the breath in the body. And that if you've got any other thoughts crowding into your mind right now, then you're just going to let them float away and focus on the breath. And then as we come to the end of your last belly breath, we're going to let our breathing come back to its normal pattern. And if you've had your hands on the belly, we're going to release the hands from the belly. And we're going to draw both knees into the chest. And we're going to hug them in nice and tight using our arms and our hands to hug our knees in. And we're going to have a little bit of a roll from side to side on our lower back. And then we're going to hold the right knee into the chest. And we're going to take the left leg away from the body and we're going to stretch that left leg out towards the end of the mat and we're going to let it hover above the mat. So we're just going to hold it here. And we're going to take a breath and we're going to pull that right thigh towards the chest. We're going to push the left foot away from the body and turn the left toes up towards the ceiling. And take 1 more breath. And I'm going to rotate that left ankle 3 times in one direction, maybe wriggling the toes as we go, keeping it hovering off the mat. And then we're going to rotate that left ankle in the opposite direction. Wriggling the toes as we go, keeping the foot off the mat. And then we're going to draw the left knee into the chest. We're going to release the right knee. And we're going to take the right leg all the way to the end of the mat. We're going to leave it hovering above the mat and the right toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. So we're drawing the left thigh into the chest and we're taking a breath here. And we're maybe just thinking about that lower back, keeping that in contact with the mat, and keeping your shoulders nice and soft in the mat as well. And then we're going to rotate that right ankle 3 times in one direction, wriggling the toes as we go. And then we're going to rotate it 3 times in the opposite direction, wriggling the toes as we go. And then we're going to draw the right knee in to join the left knee. We're going to hug both knees with our arms and our hands once more. We're going to have a little bit of a roll from side to side on that lower back and just take a breath. And then we're going to release our hands from our knees, and we're going to take our hands flat to the floor, palms flat on the floor. And we're going to roll back on the spine. We're going to take our knees and our legs and our feet all the way overhead. So we're going to try and stretch our toes over our head. And then we're going to rock forward on our spine. And we're going to let our legs and our feet drop forward onto the mat in front of us. Lovely. So we're going to bring our upper body up into a sitting position, and we're going to stretch those legs out in front of us. So as you bring your upper body up into a sitting position, we're going to have a little bit of a wriggle. We're going to find our sit bones under our bottom. So we can move the back flesh around so that you can try and stack your upper body on your sit bones. We want to take our arms either side of our hips and just rest on our fingertips. We want to drop our shoulders away from our ears. We want our legs about parallel, but they're nice and active, so our toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. We're going to inhale and lift the chest. We're going to lift the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. We're just going to hold it here for 2 breaths in our staff pose. So as you breathe, think about releasing those shoulders down away from the ears. Think about keeping those legs nice and active, the crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. And then with the next inhale, we're going to release the hands from the mat, and we're going to bring our arms up and overhead. We're going to keep the hands parallel over our head. And then we're going to exhale, and we're going to hinge from the hips, and we're going to let our upper body fall down towards our legs. So if you want to draw your legs in a little and draw your knees up and your thighs up towards your chest, then you can do so and make this a really gentle forward fold. So you're going to let your arms and your hands just drop down so that they meet your legs wherever they meet. So let your arms and your hands drop down, and think about lifting your chest and then folding forward as opposed to rounding your back and dropping your head. So we're going to hold it here, and we're going to do 2 lovely breaths. We're going to inhale and exhale, and we're really going to see if we can work with the breath and see if we can lift a little with the inhale and if we can fold a little with the exhale. So really working with the breath in this posture. And then leaving the hands on the legs wherever they are. We're very slowly going to draw the hands up our legs, and we're going to lift our upper body back up into that upright position. And if you had your knees and your legs up, we're going to drop them back down towards the floor. And we're going to take our arms out either side once more, fingers resting on the floor, dropping the shoulders, toes pointing up towards the ceiling, crown of the head up towards the ceiling, and take a breath. And then we're going to draw our left foot in towards our buttocks, and we're going to place that left foot next to our right thigh. So we're going to pull that knee in with your hand, and then we're going to take that left knee in our left hand, and we're going to see if we can gently draw that left knee down, out away from the body and towards the floor. So just take it down as far as it will go. Have another, you might need to just readjust your sitting position so that you're still sitting up nice and tall. We want to think about that right foot and have those right toes still pointing up towards the ceiling. You've still got your arms out either side, fingers resting on the floor. And then we're going to inhale, and we're going to lift both arms up and overhead, hands are parallel. And with the exhale, we're going to fold from the hips again. We're really going to reach forward with our head. We're going to let our lower body sink down towards our leg, And we're going to let our arms and our hands float down until they meet our leg at some point. So just as we did with both legs, we're going to breathe into this posture, and we're going to see, it doesn't matter where your hands are or how much you're folding forward, we're working towards lifting and folding rather than rounding the spine here. So we've got one more lovely breath here in this position. And then leaving the hands on that leg, we're going to draw the hands up that leg, and we're going to lift our upper body, and we're going to come back up into an upright position. So when we reach the upright position and we take our hands back out to the side, this time we're going to inhale, and we're going to lift our hands off the mat, and we're going to bring our right hand forward in front of the body. The left hand goes back behind the back, and the right hand is going to find the left knee out to the side. So we're bringing our upper body into a gentle twist here. So we're twisting towards the left. The whole of the body is twisting towards the left. Right hand is on the left knee. We just want to think about that right foot, and are those right toes still pointing up towards the ceiling. And we're going to take one more breath here in this twist. And then we're going to release the twist, so release the hands from the knee and the floor, and swing your arms back around the front of the body, back out to the side. And then we're going to release that left leg, and we're going to take it down to join the right leg. And we're going to give both legs a little bit of a shake here before we move on to the right side. And then we're going to bring that right foot along the floor, and we're going to draw it in as far as it will go. And then we're going to take the right knee and the right hand, and we're going to drop that right knee down towards the floor, out away from the body. So again, you might want to adjust your sitting position a little so that you're still sitting up nice and tall. So think about that crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. Your left leg's still nice and active, and the left toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. And so then we start with the hands out to the side, fingertips on the floor. And then we inhale and we lift both arms up and overhead. The hands are parallel. And then we're going to exhale, and we're going to hinge from the hips. So as you hinge from the hips, we're reaching forward with your hands, your arms, your head, and you're folding your upper body down towards your leg. And you're letting your arms and your hands sink down towards your leg. And they might reach your leg by your knee, by your shin, by your ankle. It doesn't matter where your hands land. Just let them land nice and soft. And then see if we can work the breath into this posture. We've still got our toes of our left leg pointing up towards the ceiling. And as we inhale, we're maybe lifting ever so slightly. And as we exhale, we're folding forward a little bit more. One more breath here, inhaling and exhaling. And then leaving the hands on that left leg, we're going to draw the hands up the leg nice and slowly. And we're going to draw our upper body back up into a sitting position until we find ourselves once more nice and tall. And we're going to place the hands back down at the side. And then we're going to inhale, and we're going to lift the hands off the mat. And this time we're going to swing the left arm in front of the body, and the right arm and the right hand behind the back. And the left hand finds the right knee, and we twist our upper body, and we turn towards the right hand side this time. So we're keeping the left leg active, the left toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. We've got a lovely twist in the whole of the body. The shoulders are dropping down away from the ears. And we're going to hold it here and breathe into this twist. One more lovely long inhale and exhale. And then we're going to release those hands from the knee and the floor. And we're going to swing the arms back to our starting position at the side of the body. And we're going to release that right leg. And we're going to take it down to join the left leg. And we're going to give both legs a little bit of a shake. Lovely. And then bending the knees, We're going to swing those legs out behind us, and we're going to come onto our knees and onto our hands, and we're going to find our tabletop position. So in our tabletop, the tops of the feet are flat on the mat behind us, our wrists are under our shoulders, and our knees are under our hips. We want to feel that we've got as flat a back as possible. So when you press down through your arms and your hands, your head is nice and level with your spine, and you're pulling up your shoulders, pulling up your belly into your spine, and you've got a nice flat back. So we just take one breath here while we think about what this feels like. And then we're just going to release this. So we're just going to do some freestyle rolls here. So you can drop your bottom back towards your heels, drop your body down, take it round to the side, and then bring your body weight forward over your hands, take your bottom out to the side, and then roll it back. So we're just using this movement to release any tension. You can bring some movement to the spine, some movement to the head, and then we're going to reverse, and we're going to take this roll in the opposite direction. Just keep it nice and fluid. We want to make sure that our body is going to be nice and warm for our warrior flow that's coming next. And then we're going to come back to our nice central position. We're just going to take a moment to find that nice flat back. And then we're going to come up onto the toes of our right leg. And we're going to stretch that right leg out behind us. And we're going to rest on those right toes. And then we're going to take our left hand off the mat. And we're going to raise our left hand up away from the body. The palm of the hand is facing down towards the floor. We're seeing if we can bring the hand level with our ears. And you can stay where you are with that back leg. Or you can, if you want to lift your back leg off the mat and raise it up so that your leg is level with your spine. And you're creating a lovely straight line from the tips of the fingers along the arm, the spine and the leg in our Superman. We're going to hold it here for one lovely breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to release, and we're going to bring the left hand back in and the right knee back in. And we're just going to swing those hips from side to side and maybe give those wrists a little bit of a shake if you need to. And then we're going to come back to our nice neutral position with our nice flat back. We're going to pause here for a moment. And then we're going to come up onto our left toes. And we're going to stretch that left leg out behind us. And we're going to rest on those left toes, stretching that leg behind. And then we take our right hand off the mat and we lift the right arm up away from the floor. The palm is parallel with the floor. We're stretching the fingers away from the shoulders. And we're trying to bring the arm so it's level with our ear. Our head is still nicely in line with the spine. And you can either hold it here in this position, or if you want to lift that left leg off the floor, you can try and raise the leg up so it's the same height as the spine. The toes are pointing down towards the floor. Really stretch your fingers away from your toes. Really lift those shoulders, pull that belly button in. Work towards that nice flat back and try and keep everything else nice and still and stable as we take our final breath here. And then we're going to release, and we're going to let that right hand float back. And we're going to let that left knee come back. And we're going to swing those hips from side to side and just release those wrists a little. And then we're going to prepare to come into our down dog from this tabletop position. So we're going to tuck our toes under behind us with both feet. We're going to drop our bottom back towards our heels, letting your head fall down between your arms. Your hands are flat in the mat and your fingers are nicely spread. And then we're going to press down through our arms and our hands into the mat as if we were pushing it away from us. We're going to push our heels away from us and down towards the floor. We're going to lift our knees, and then we're going to take our bottom and our hips all the way up towards the ceiling, and we're going to find our down dog position. So as you come into this first down dog of our practice, we want to walk it out, bending the knees, raising the heels and swinging the hips. You want to think about the distance between your feet and your hands. So maybe if it doesn't feel very stable, you might want to walk your feet in towards your hands a little bit more. Trying to create a nice V position with your body. And down dog, it should be a really nice stretch in the spine. So really push your chest towards your thigh and feel that lovely long stretch all the way down the spine. So then we're going to come to stillness here in our down dog. And we're going to let our heels drop down towards the mat. And we're going to hold it here with our head hanging heavy between our arms. And we're going to take one lovely breath. And then we're going to walk our feet in towards our hands. And we're going to keep our knees nice and bent as we walk our feet in until our feet are between our hands and our hands are still flat on the mat, either side of the feet. And we're going to lower our crown of the head down towards the floor as we find our full forward fold. And we're going to take a breath here, just releasing the shoulders, keeping the shoulders soft, taking your attention to your toes, seeing that they're not scrunched. And then with the next inhale, we're coming up into our half forward fold. So we remove the hands from the floor, we take them to our shins or our ankles, we stretch the head away from the body, and we're looking for a nice flat back that's parallel with the floor in our half forward fold. And then we release it back down to the mat. We take the hands either side of the feet, flat on the mat, so bend your knees again, drop the crown of the head down towards the floor. Find this full forward fold. And then from here, we're going to come up to standing. So we're going to take our hands off the floor. We're going to take our arms out to the side. And as we raise our arms, we're going to unfurl our back vertebrae by vertebrae, nice and slow. Our head is heavy and our head comes up last. And as we unfurl, we bring the arms up and overhead. We bring the hands together in prayer over our head. And then as we exhale, we lower our hands and our thumbs down to our chest. And we hold it here and we take a breath. And then we're going to release our hands and give them a little bit of a shake. Give our legs a little bit of a shake. We give our shoulders a little bit of a roll forwards and back. Lovely. And then standing at the front of the mat, you can work with your feet about hip distance apart. We're going to start by thinking about standing up nice and tall. We've got nice soft knees. We're tucking our tailbone in. Our shoulders are nice and soft. The crown of the head is reaching up towards the ceiling. We're going to inhale and we're going to take our arms out to the side and we're going to raise them up overhead. We're going to bring our hands together in prayer overhead. We're going to exhale, we're going to fold from the hips. We're going to bend the knees and we're going to lower the upper body and the head and the arms and the hands all the way down to the mat. We're going to release the hands and take them to the floor, either side of the feet, and find our forward fold once more. We're going to take a breath here in this forward fold. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to come back up into our half forward fold. So we bring the hands to the shins or the ankles. We stretch out the chest away from the body. We stretch out the head away from the body. We find our half forward fold with the back parallel with the floor. And then we release the hands back down to the mat. Hands are flat either side of the feet. Crown of the head dropping down towards the floor. And then with the next inhale, we're coming up to standing again. So we're taking the arms out to the side. We're unfurling the back vertebrae by vertebrae. We're lifting the head nice and slowly. The head is heavy. We're bringing the arms up and overhead. Hands are parallel over the head. And we exhale the hands and the thumbs down to the chest. We hold it here and we take a breath. Lovely. And then we release and give your legs and your hands a little bit of a shake. So staying at the front of the mat now, we're going to go into our warrior sequence. So we're going to start by taking our left leg back behind us. Just one kind of normal sized step. You want to turn your back foot out at about 45 degrees so that your toes are pointing towards the left-hand side of your mat. We're going to bend our front knee over our front ankle. So we want a nice right angle bend in that knee. So you might want to adjust the distance between your feet once you've done that. You want to feel that your hips are nice and comfortable being parallel with the short end of the mat. So your body is parallel with the short end of the mat and you're facing forwards. So adjust your feet. You want to feel strong and stable and that you've got equal weight going down through both legs into your feet and that your body is nice and central over your hips. So we're going to start by taking our arms, both arms, in front of the body and up overhead, and the hands are parallel. So once your hands are up overhead and your hands are parallel, we're going to release those shoulders down away from the ears. Soften the shoulders down. You want to think about your upper body. So there's a temptation to push your chest forward and to concave your lower back. We don't want to do that. We want to lift from the chest. We also don't want to take our body forward and lean over that front knee. So just take a moment to think about where your body is, your upper body. Is it nice and upright? Is your chest reaching up towards the ceiling? And we're going to take one more breath here in this posture. And then we're going to bring the palms of the hands together over our head. And we're going to tilt our head and take our gaze up towards our hands. And we're going to lean back into a very slight back bend. So to keep your balance, you want to keep breathing down into both legs and into both feet. And just take this back bend as far back as feels comfortable for you. And just take one more breath. Lovely. And then we're going to release our hands from the prayer position. We're going to take them parallel again. And we're going to let our arms float down in front of the body. And we're going to let them float back behind us. And we're going to find our hands behind our back. And we're going to clasp our fingers behind our back. So we're going to hold it here for a moment. We're drawing our shoulder blades down and together behind us. And we're drawing our hands down and away from our bottom. We're just going to check that we've still got that lovely bend in our front knee. And then with the inhale, we're going to just lift the chest. And then as we exhale, we're going to fold from the hips. And we're going to see if we can lower our upper body down towards that thigh. But as we come down, we're maybe just going to move that right foot out towards the right side to make space for the body to come down beside that front leg. And as you bring the body down, we're taking our arms and our hands up over our head. So if that doesn't feel very stable for you, release your hands and bring them down to your hips. But if you're feeling nice and stable, keep your arms and your hands clasped behind you and see if you can start to raise your arms up and over your head as you lower your body down. So your legs might be shaking now. You want to breathe into it, breathe down through your legs into your feet. Let's see if we can do one more breath here. And then we're going to release our hands from the clasp position. We're going to let the arms float down either side, and they're going to find the mat. And then we're going to turn those back toes, that back foot, so the toes are pointing towards our front foot. And then we're going to take our front foot back to meet our back foot. And we're going to find our downward dog, hopefully once more. And we're going to walk out our down dog, and we're going to swing those hips. And then we're going to come to stillness, and we're going to draw those heels down towards the mat. We're going to let our head hang heavy between our arms. We're going to move into a Chaturanga now. So we're going to inhale and we're going to take our body forward and our weight forward, and we're going to come into our plank position. So we've now got our shoulders over our wrists and our heels are pointing away from the body. Our head is level with our spine. We're nice and strong in our plank. And then we're going to release our knees, both knees down to the mat, and release the toes so the tops of the feet are back on the mat. Leave the arms where they are. And then we're going to bend the elbows, keeping the elbows close to the body. And we're going to see if we can lower our upper body all the way down to the floor, nice and slow and nice and controlled. So we should now have the whole of the front of the body down on the mat, tops of the feet are pressing into the mat, the hips are pressing into the mat. And we're just going to check and see where our hands are. We want our hands flat on the floor, underneath our shoulders, and our elbows are bent and tucked into our body. And then with the next inhale, we're going to keep the elbows bent and tucked into the body. And we're going to lift the chest and the head away from the floor. So coming into a low cobra. So again, just come up as far as is comfortable for you. Keep those elbows bent and tucked into the body and press down into the mat with the tops of the feet and the hips. And then we're going to exhale and we're going to lower the chest and lower the head back down to the mat. And once your chest and head is back on the floor, we're going to tuck those toes under behind us and keeping your head firmly parallel with the floor. We're going to press down through our arms and our hands, and we're going to lift our body up, maybe back onto the knees to begin with. And we're going to come all the way back up into our down dog. So walk out your down dog when you get there. Keep it nice and fluid. And then we're going to come to stillness and draw those heels down towards the mat. And then we're going to take our left foot and our left leg, and we're going to bring it forward under the body, and we're going to place that left foot between our hands, shuffle it forward if it doesn't reach. We're going to step our back foot in a little, and we're going to turn it out 45 degrees. And then we're going to lift our upper body and our arms and our hands off the mat. We're going to bring our hands to the waist. We're going to bend our front knee. And hopefully we've all found ourselves in our warrior one position on the opposite leg. So we've got our left knee is bent and is nicely positioned above our left ankle. And we've got a nice right angle in that leg. We've got our legs a distance apart, but we feel nice and strong, with our back toes splayed out towards the side of the mat. And our hips are nice and comfortable and parallel with the short end of the mat. So when you're comfortable in this stance, we're going to release the hands from the hips. And then we're going to take the arms forward, the hands are parallel. And we're going to lift the arms up and overhead, the hands are going to remain parallel. And we're going to settle into this position for 3 breaths. So as we hold this position here, we're going to think about where our upper body is. Is it nice and central over our hips? We're not leaning forward too much. We're not opening the chest too much. We're just reaching up with those arms and those hands, and we've dropped those shoulders down away from the ears. Got 1 more breath here. And then we're going to bring the hands together in prayer over the head. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to lift the chest. We're going to open the chest and take it up towards the ceiling, letting the back bend ever so slightly. So just keep it nice and gentle. It should feel nice and comfortable. Got 1 more breath here in this very gentle back bend. And then we're going to release our hands from their prayer position, and we're going to lower those arms down so that the fingers are pointing down towards the floor. And then we're going to take them the whole way behind us. We're going to find our hands behind our back. We're going to clasp our fingers. So we're going to start by drawing our shoulders down and away from the ears and together. We're drawing our clasped hands down and away from the bottom. The front of the body now is nice and parallel with the front end of the mat. And we inhale and we lift the chest and we draw the shoulders down. And then with the exhale, we're maybe going to walk that left foot out a little towards the left-hand side of the mat as we let the upper body hinge from the hips and we let the upper body fold forward as we take the crown of the head down towards the floor to the side of the front leg. And we raise our clasped hands up and overhead behind us. So again, if this doesn't feel very steady, you can release the hands and bring them to the hips. It'll help you keep your balance a little bit more. So wherever you are, we're trying to hinge a little bit more from the hips. Drop the body, drop the head. We're going to hold it here for one more lovely breath. If your legs are shaking, just breathe into them. Lovely. And then we're going to reverse to come out of this. So we're lifting the head and the upper body, and we're lowering the arms and the hands behind us, and we're coming back up. We release the hands, we bring the hands to the hips, we bring our upper body back up into our full warrior one position. I'm going to hold it here. And then we're going to gaze forward towards our toes. We're going to release our hands, and we're going to let our arms drop down towards the mat until our hands reach the floor. We're going to turn those back toes so the toes are pointing towards our front foot. And we're going to take our front foot back to meet our back foot. And we're going to find our down dog position once more. And we're just going to walk it out. And we're going to swing the hips while we take a breath. And then we're going to come to stillness. And we're going to draw those heels down towards the floor. We're going to let our head hang heavy between our arms. And we're going to take a breath. And then we're going to walk our hands in towards our feet. We're keeping our knees nice and bent until our hands are inside, till our feet are inside our hands are flat on the floor, crown of the head dropping down towards the ceiling. We inhale up into our half lift, bringing our hands to our shins or our ankles, stretching out the chest and the head away from the body in our half forward fold. And then we exhale back down into our full forward fold again, bending the knees, dropping the crown of the head, dropping the hands flat on the floor, either side of the feet. And then we release the hands from the mat. We're going to come up to standing. So we take the arms out to the side. We unfurl the back vertebrae by vertebrae. We bring the arms up and overhead. We bring the palms together in prayer. And then we exhale and we bring the palms down to the chest. Thumbs to chest, take a breath. And release. Release the arms, release the legs, give them a little bit of a shape. So now I'd like you to step out onto your mat so that you're taking a wide-legged stance using the whole length of your mat. You want your feet parallel and you want your toes pointing towards the long end of the mat. So the distance that you take your legs will depend on you. You want to feel nice and strong in this position. We're going to take our hands to our hips and we're going to inhale and we're going to lift from the chest. And then we're going to exhale and we're going to fold forward from the hips. And we're going to reach our head away from our hips. And we're going to lower our back while keeping our knees soft. But we're going to stop when we get halfway. And we're going to look for this nice flat back again that's parallel with the floor. And the knees are soft. So just going to hold it here and take a breath. Then we're going to release our hands from our hips and we're going to let our hands fall down to the floor. So you're reaching your fingers to a space in the mat that's in between your legs. You're going to let your body fold forward. So if your hands don't reach the mat, that's fine. You might want to take opposite elbows in opposite hands. and let your head drop down towards your arms. So keep your knees soft, and you really want to push down into the balls of your feet. We're going to hold it here. So you've either got your fingertips or your hands flat on the mat between your feet, or you've got alternate hands and alternate elbows, and you're dropping your head forward. We're going to take one more lovely inhale and exhale here. And then if you've got hold of your elbows, we're going to release those hands. So bend your knees more if you need to now, so that you can get your hands on the mat. And then we're going to heel toe our feet in towards the center of our body, just a couple of steps. And then we're going to turn, we're going to finish with our toes pointing out away from our body. And we're going to use our hands to help us. And we're going to see if we can drop our bottom back down towards the floor and find a squat position that works for you. So for your squat, you might still have your hands on the floor to help you balance, and that's okay. Or you might want to bring your elbows to the inside of your knees and bring your hands together in prayer. So whatever works for you, you want to try and lower that bottom, bend the knees, and if having your elbows in and your hands together in prayer isn't comfortable, just keep your hands on the floor in front of you to help you balance. That's fine. Lovely. Let's take one lovely breath here. And then we're going to use our hands, maybe have one hand in front and one hand behind. And we're just going to lower our bottom down to the mat as elegantly as we can. Nice and gentle, so that we're sitting on the floor. So lower your bottom down to the mat, that's lovely. And then we're going to swing around on your mat, and we're going to take those legs. We're going to walk those legs on the mat out away from your bottom. We're going to keep the feet on the floor and the knees up towards the ceiling. And we're going to drop the lower back down onto the mat and find that position that we started our practice from this evening, where we've got the whole of the upper body and the head down on the floor. Feet are on the floor and knees are up towards the ceiling. We're going to walk our feet out so that they're as wide as the mat. And we're going to drop our knees together. So we're going to drop our knees inwards so that they touch in between our feet. We're going to have a little bit of a wriggle of that lower back and see if we can still make contact between the floor. And we're going to take our arms out at shoulder height, and we're going to bend the elbows and find our cactus arms. So we're getting a lovely little stretch across the chest from the cactus arms. We're going to tuck our chin in towards our chest, so they've got a nice little stretch in the neck. And we're just letting our legs relax and gravity do the work, letting the knees drop together. We're just going to hold it here and take 3 lovely long inhales and exhales. This is our constructive rest position to finish our practice. So just let everything that's in contact with the floor soften, in particular that lower back. You want to find the floor with your lower back. And take our final breath here. And then going to open up those knees away from each other. And we're going to draw both knees into the chest. We're going to bring our arms and our hands forward and hug those knees into our chest. We're going to have another little roll from side to side on that lower back. And as we inhale, we're going to draw the knees into the chest. And as we exhale, we maybe just let them fall away. Let's take one more lovely breath here. And then releasing the hands from the knees, we're going to let the knees fall over to one side of the body. We're going to let our body follow and roll over onto one side. We're going to use our arms and our hands to bring ourselves back up into a sitting position. And I'd invite you to join me with your legs crossed, sitting up nice and tall, hands together in prayer, thumbs to chest. We'll take one final inhale and exhale to complete our practice. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me this